Welcome back to Travel Market Life. I'm your host, Ryan Haynes, and this is the 25th episode as part of the two-part series for Travel Market Life. And this is the Hotel Tech Clinic series, where we've been talking about everything from blockchain, cryptocurrency, robots, robotic process automation, and new developments for the heart of the hotel, the property management system, and everything that's interconnected around that. Today, we're going to be looking at staff and guest management tools and why that's so important for contactless engagement with travelers, especially at this time as we consider health and well-being of both our staff and our guests as a priority. So joining me now is Girish Prabhu from Instio. Hi, how are you doing today?
Hi, Ryan. Thank you for inviting me for the 25th podcast. That's really great and humbled for that.
Thank you very much indeed. I mean, 25 episodes in, I think it's been about 13 weeks, has not been too bad. It's been quite a roller coaster, and it's a roller coaster we've all been going through. And there's been so many changes in the way that we've been approaching the market, and particularly even for you guys at Instio, you've had this pivot, which is sat quite nicely, quite perfectly for the type of tools that you offer. Just give us a little bit of a snapshot as to who is Instio and why it's so important today.
Yeah, so Instio is a platform. Majorly, we service with 4 different products in one single platform. They are like Instio Zero Touch, which we rightly said. You asked said that we pivoted, and this is the pivot. We came up with a new product called Instio Zero Touch, and then we had our good old platform, which is GEM. And we also have a product called Instio Hope, which is for operations and engage for CRM and upselling during your stay. So if you look at the hotels, typically have different tools for different functionalities for different departments, and most of these work in silo. Like someone who is managing it for the restaurant doesn't know who is there in your rooms and what he likes, what he doesn't like. And staff management and your housekeeping management all work in silo. So the housekeeping team never know who the room guest is and what his preferences are, what his struggles are, nothing like that. So what you end up doing is subscribing to many tools, and then you struggle with hoping data gets seamlessly integrated with all of them, which is not the case, and you still end up having disconnects between your systems. So as you rightly said, the new pivot, which is Zero Touch, actually helps the hospitality companies to completely go and operate during this post or during the pandemic situations.
Oh no, it gives that social distancing. It means that these guests don't have, or even staff have to have this direct physical contact all the time. But it also offers greater efficiencies, as you say, removing those silos and knowing, who's doing what and when and who's dealt with that particular customer issue. Because as we know, I mean, I've been a most annoying guest in which, I complain to a front desk about something. The next moment I'm complaining to the bar about the same problem. And then I'm having a same conversation with housekeeping lady. And so as a result of that, I might not necessarily feel that I've been listened to, but with a tool like this, you're able to act upon those issues and keep everybody informed across the business. And I guess you've got that guest log. You can see what's happening and how and when it's been dealt with. And I guess contactless is the word of today. It's the buzzword, but it's more about efficiency, no?
Yes, exactly. Nobody actually cares about efficiency right now because the buzzword is getting the customers in. But you look at the complexity of operating your hotel, which is a city, a mini city, with different languages spoken and different cultures being rendered within that hotel, and your customers more complex. Now you get customers from various cities or cultures, and you have to have these two cultures or multiple cultures sync together. So what happens here is, efficiency is, old time, yes, with papers and the radio, we were trying to achieve things, but now you have less staff, and the same staff might end up doing many things because the expectations from the guest doesn't change. It's getting more complex. People are going to adopt more of smartphones and devices. And now your staff who are not doing that so far are forced to adopt those technologies as well. So this is where touchless solution like us, can help.
Absolutely. I mean, as you say, say goodbye to the walkie-talkie and the
Yes.
paperclip. I mean, it's time to record everything in real time, make sure everyone's kept updated, being able to contact people throughout the hotel. And
Yes.
obviously, with Wi-Fi technology today, you don't need to rely on radio frequencies to keep
Yes.
in contact with staff. And most staff now have their smartphones, and they're more willing to use those whilst they're at work, aren't they?
Yes, yes, it is. I mean, everybody, in the world, most of them have smartphones. So the advantage we have is we work with any kind of devices. We can, provide you smartphone specific solution, or it could be a web-based solution. So the, staff doesn't need to download our app in their phone. It's, in our technology, we call it as PWA, Progressive Web App. So which works similar to or gives you the same features as what you download an app, but it doesn't consume your memory or it doesn't consume your hard disk space in your phone. So people are ready to adopt it more. Adding to that, we can also provide you kiosks or iPad-based solutions, which is a omni-device solution that we can provide you.
Now, I mean, you're touching not just on operations, but also on guest services. So there are multiple or different managers that are going to be involved with the use of this type of technology and ensuring that it's adopted by all staff and that there are processes and procedures in place. How do you work with hoteliers to be able to define, who is the product lead and who is the manager of this type of tool? And, how would you advise hotels to go about thinking about this and bringing everyone together to be ready for adoption of these types of technologies?
That's a great question, Ryan. Actually, that's one that we need to really address because, as you rightly said, every department has a lead, and most of the time, there is no one common owner for the system. So what we actually try to do, at least, is get the operations manager or the general manager as the lead and the owner. So it doesn't mean that he has to do it, but every other department head will be owning their own team, their own part. So, more than why, more than how, it is important for why as well. So I'll just put up a case where we could actually save nearly 40% of the productivity we could improve in one of our resorts. So you just imagine like this resort is having 80 plus rooms distributed within 18 acres of land, and a request from one villa, a small room, comes to the main office and then gets served to that villa. It takes nearly half an hour just to reach there and find out, hey, I got wrong person. So it's, even though customer complains something, say my AC doesn't work or my plumbing has issue, my, bathroom is not clean or something, but the root cause could be something else. It could be that your AC is not working because of something else. So a technician goes there, finds out that it is not really happening. So then he comes back and another person goes, and you literally lose one and a half hours of your productivity. So our system looks into this, understands based on the AI, we predict what are the things happening and what are the symptoms that we had earlier. And we understand, okay, this is because of this, and this could be the reason. And we can guide him, the right person, to go there and fix that problem. So that way we can actually, and this is one of them. And then second thing we do is smart routing. So we know who's the nearest person available right now, instead of the central pantry or from the main office, someone walking to that. The nearest housekeeping staff goes in and checks the problem, and then he exactly reports what happens. So these kind of smart routing tools helps them to improve the productivity. At this time, this tough time, this is a very important value.
I mean, that's quite a sexy feature, having like a geolocator for where your staff are to be able to send them to deal with issues or problems there. But I mean, smart routing is something that is becoming very relevant and important today to bring those efficiencies, that it goes to the right people, but more so that you're actually taking that one step further, and it's not just going to the right department, but it's going to the person who is going to be able to deal with that process, that issue, in the most efficient and quickest way possible.
Yes.
I mean, there obviously there's this matter that, as you say, it covers the entire hotel, and there are different departments. And each of these will have different responsibilities and goals.
Yes.
It's important to set key performance indicators today, isn't it, to ensure that you maintain that level of experience and service delivery. And can you set these up within a system like yours by department, so that actually you can still maintain that autonomy for each of the individual managers?
Yes, we do. So, we actually set up everything based on department. So each department is the owner for that particular team. So, for example, if I, quote an example, when we started with one of the resorts, their internal time checks, like, the SLAs, we call it as, service level agreements. There are two alerts that we keep. One is when did you respond to your request? And the second is when did you close your request? So these are two different values. One is, sometimes you hear, you end up calling the reception asking for your service, or you call up the room service and asking for, hey, I didn't get it for, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. So this is all happening because that communication is not properly happening. So what we do is we make sure that it is attended within a stipulated time. So the SLAs can be set for individual team, not only just individual department. So if you have multiple teams within department, yes, we can have SLAs set for individual teams. So a manager can set it based on his team's capabilities. Even though, probably, in a hotel in the same group in California may be working, maybe the first touch point within 3 minutes. So when someone, in a relaxed resort in, Calibo or, West Indies or in Florida, people don't want the 3 minutes. They might take it 10 minutes. So you can set your goals for your team for each of these SLAs. And the system automatically escalates to 3 levels up. So immediate supervisor, the immediate manager, and then to the GM or the owner. So we can set these escalation matrices as well per team. So that is a big flex that you get. You can manage your internal SLAs out the way you want it.
And all the data is recorded, so you don't have to worry about recording it. I guess it's all the numbers are crunched, so it's just about potentially analyzing it and seeing where the leakage is and where you can improve these types of things. Now, when it comes to implementation, is it a heavy technology implementation? I mean, are we talking about a lot of software and integrations in order to get started on a tool like this?
Okay, so when I started, I said we have 4 different products. They all work together internally, but at the same time, we have option to take one by one. So if you want just the HOPE, which stands for Hospitality Operations, so you can just, this whatever we talk here is about the HOPE, and you might be, for this integration, we can take that what you want, and then we take about a week to onboard a customer. It's not for our integration. It's for recording your operations into our system. So teaching the system about your operations, your standards of operations. And once we are ready, we will give you intense training. We work with you and we go in a phased manner. So typically our rollout happens in second week and the training happens for a week. And then we do another rollout after 2 weeks. So typically after 1 month, you will be ready to start operations. Sometimes, yes, we need to integrate with some of the PMSs and POS systems and CRMs. Then, many of those are already partnered with us. So we are working with them. So you don't need to do that integration. But if it is not supported, we are ready to support. We are ready to integrate with you. I mean, your PMS and other systems. So that will take some time, but we can even otherwise we can work in a manual method. So there are supports that we provide you.
So there's not much of a technical installation that needs to happen. I mean, what's
No, this is all cloud. Yeah, on
yeah.
cloud. So you can just, like Google or, Gmail, you can just switch on and start working.
So the IT manager doesn't really need to be involved so much. It's more about ensuring that the delivery managers, the operational managers, the front desk reservation managers, they're involved. They're ready to embrace this with their staff.
Yes. And there is where we need to work closely with them, because it's how they want to, their procedures, how that fit into our, how to put that into our system. That's where we need to take time and, map it properly in our system. It should not be that, the guest puts in some request and it vanishes in the system and nobody, responds, and then guest gets more annoyed than, getting, act results. So that's where we take time. We work with them very closely. Be on board for them.
I mean that's the thing. You want to get started, but it's about making sure that you actually adapt your business, you adapt your processes. And as we're going through that very uncomfortable change of having to change the way we do things and look at the way we deliver our services
Yes.
in a way that considers all these issues around COVID-19. You're not just thinking about social distancing. You're thinking about the welfare. You're thinking about your budgets. You're thinking about your resources. There's so much that needs to be thought about. That I guess this should be a collaborative effort with your staff, looking at those areas where you can see that time and resources are wasted, and looking at defining, as you say, a new delivery map, almost new process system that you harnesses technology to bring those efficiencies. Is it dependent on the size of the hotel, or of a type of like pushback that you might get from staff? I guess it may be a small independent hotel. You could imagine that they could actually be ready and raring to go because they're such a small team. But maybe a large 200 room hotel with 50, 60 staff, it might be difficult to get them on board. Do you see that? And what sort of advice do you give to hotels to help prepare their staff for this sort of tech?
Yeah, I've have earlier we have seen that pushback from the staff members, mainly because they feel this is another tool to harass them, or things like that. But what we do is we give them training, we give them assurance that it's going to help them, and then we work closely with them. We give enough training for them, and the same set of the staff members were really happy to see the product actually helping them, which could actually save many of their wasteful hours, and they could really become really productive employees. About your ask about the size of the property, yes, we see if you're too small, and you're a self-managed property where you have only your couple of people managing it, yes, we might not be using the entire tool to delegation and others, but this also gives you control over your problems. I mean, things happen everywhere. I mean, even if you're a small bed and breakfast inn having 4 rooms, the same thing. I mean, people yell at you and they have unexpected requirements from them. So all these things can be put into a list, and then this can be made as a task list for you, and then you can manage the same thing. You will not have the visual and other large delegations and alerts and things like that. Same platform can work for both the large and small companies.
Excellent. And Instio, your product is available worldwide?
Yes, it is right now.
Excellent. Wonderful. Girish, thank you very much for joining us today. I really appreciate you giving us some insight into how you can develop contactless technology for staff and guests within a hotel environment.
Thank you, Ryan. Have a great time. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening us to Travel Market Life, where we've been exploring the role of contactless technologies in hotels. Check out some of our other programs on travelmarket.life, as well as some of our recommendations for upcoming virtual events, podcasts, and other industry programs that we have sourced and collated for you on the website. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back very soon with a new series. Speak soon. Ciao for now.